Hey, this is a short but quick video on why Warhammer 40k kinda sucks if you really think about it. Me, I'm not well versed with Warhammer, but I know enough to know that it kinda sucks for standing on its own though, in a way. And you could be that one person that says, oh, well, it's been around since, so long and this and that and the third, but the issue is, let's use, for example, demographic for the target audience for Warhammer. For the most part, it's usually fucking 40-year-olds that are just wine asses and shit like that, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just, yeah. And that's literally primarily the target demographic for Warhammer is just fucking 40-year-olds that whine and shit constantly, it seems like. Opposed to, let's say, Star Wars. Now, Star Wars, for example, yes, Star Wars has the sequels, which is god-awful, but it does a target demographic towards all audiences. Take the Clone Wars, for example. Clone Wars, specifically the Filoni series, though. That was, even though it was meant for younger viewers back in, when it first came out, it would still broaden also appeal of older audiences and shit too, because it was not afraid to show, let's see here, fucking death and the occasional fucking swear and this and that the third. Star Wars has its target demographic of its appeal for all audiences. Granted, it has had the moments too where, say, Resistance, where it kind of goes too much for the younger audience, and I don't like that personally, but if we're talking just the basis of Star Wars, it knows what it's doing though for its target audience. Warhammer doesn't do that. It just one audience, that's it. And when you have only one audience you target your property to, it's really just gonna fuck over the appeal for other audiences, say younger generation, for example, because not everybody, especially in this day and age, is gonna see or care for the appeal of a property like Warhammer, because not everybody cares for vast majority of lore and or has the patience to keep up with that big of fucking lore. Sometimes it's great to have one-shot lores, for example, Cowboy Bebop. That is, I'm talking specifically to anime. Cowboy Bebop is a one-shot anime, not counting the movie. Does enough to pretty much get you versed into it, gets you appealed with the story, but doesn't also just throw the story in your face too. Makes you question and think a little bit also about the story. And how Cowboy Bebop did that, it had you on your seats throughout each episode. And then with episode 5 coming in too, that's where shit really got real. And Cowboy Bebop, with the Ballad of Fallen Angels, Cowboy Bebop knows what the fuck it's doing for a one-shot series too, compared to, say, Warhammer, which is just so fucking huge. It's not to say that, huge properties are bad, because it's not. Huge properties are not bad. Again, Star Wars is one of them things. And Star Wars also has its flaws. But when you have a property so huge that you can't fucking keep track of half the time too, that's a pretty big issue. And that's another issue with Warhammer also is, it's so huge of a property that keeps expanding, and it just seems like it doesn't know where to end with shit like that. And again, Star Wars is guilty of that also, opposed to a few other properties, but you kind of have to draw a limit too. Go the Gundam route in a way. Do one main universe, say Universal Century, but then also do alternate universes that are one-shot universes. For example, Iron Blood Orphans is a one-shot universe, and it's not tied into the main timeline at all, but still gives that appeal for Gundam fans who doesn't want to get well-versed into a huge fucking universe. There's many ways you can go about, introducing fans and shit to certain properties, too. And it's just, Warhammer kinda doesn't have that. And, again, I'm not trying to dog on Warhammer or anything like that, but Again, it's not my cup of tea. I will give now, I do love the Norse Marine design. I do like Slanesh's ideas and everything as a character. That's the only shit I care to know about Warhammer. But, yeah, this little rant over. I just had to get this out of my system.